This is Coach and Client Confessions with my client, Hannah, who I guided through a 12-week cutting phase for a photo shoot.
Going to go behind the scenes with what it's like to work with Jamie as a coach today. Going to start with some questions you received on your social media. Big question that people are sort of noticing. Why don't you work with brands, girl?
I get this question always through a negative lens on my socials.
Yeah.
So if I have any post go viral or do well, I'll always get a negative comment regarding why I don't have discount codes in my bios. And it's always connoting to the fact that brands don't want to work with me or they might not align with my viewpoints. And I'll say it here once, it's definitely not the case. I have had meetings with brands. I have not found one yet that I think aligns with my views and ideologies within the training and the fitness industry because it is such a murky industry right now. I also beg to question the authenticity of coaches and influencers who have multiple brands and discount codes in their bios.
Girl, sometimes I'll go onto some pages like 10.
There's so many. Look, for me personally, even 3+.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you have to remember that they're standing behind these brands. They're backing them because they're trying to sell to you. So at what point are they thinking of their own pockets and not of your pockets? I will only endorse and stand behind a product or a brand that I truly believe in and believe in what they stand for, not just what they sell. And I have not yet found that. I'm not opposed to. I just value my clients. My girls are everything. They're already trusting me and putting money towards their future through coaching. I'm not going to push something that they don't need to spend money on. You have to think about the financial feasibility of your health and fitness journey. So adding on product after product and discount code after, clothing wear brand code, it just accumulates. And I don't think you can put full trust in a coach with your health and lifestyle if you can't trust the brands that they're standing behind because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
So that
makes sense.
That is the reason.
You've got people reaching out to you though?
Yeah, I've had a few. I've had meetings. We can do more conversations regarding brands if you guys are interested to know the behind the scenes of how brands work and how the endorsements work and the actual percents that they're offering you. I will say this. I have not found one that is worth the time and effort that you put in towards socials. Yeah. You need to think about the fact that you've gained an audience, you've put time and effort into creating a safe, nurturing environment for them to trust you. I'm not going to sell my service, which I highly believe in, next to a brand that I don't. That is just conflicting.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And your time as well. The amount that they offer for the content that they expect from what I have seen do not match up.
And it would need to be beneficial to you as well. Like making content takes so much time.
It does.
And you got to do additional content for the brand. It needs to make sense with your brand 100%. At the same time.
They need to align. Yeah, definitely.
What questions people are asking you is how do you feel doing the body paint shoots? Because you've done a few shoots and the body paint is a little bit exposing. I think I'd be so nervous to do it. So how do you feel doing that?
It was definitely exposing. I mean, I was naked, covered in paint. It was actually the first one I did was the gold shoot. So that was last year.
Which was amazing.
It was stunning.
So good.
I think that was my favorite. Yeah. And that was with Alex and his level of professionalism. You just feel so safe in that environment. I definitely wouldn't – that was the first time I met him. Yeah. So that wouldn't have been as comfortable if it weren't for his professionalism. But it was funny. I had my coach who's underneath me come along. She shot the behind the scenes. She ended up painting me. Logistically, it was interesting. But it was just so fun as well. The bikini and like the lingerie shoots, they're great that everyone does. We all do them. Yeah. And I'll continue to do them. Yeah. But I wanted something fun.
Different as well. And like the paint, you could see the muscle
the muscle definition.
So cool. Yeah.
I was just looking up concepts and I wanted something people hadn't done before because I do like to experiment with that on my socials. You need to add, an aspect of personality into it to make it authentic to you. So that was the body paint. And then pretty much a year later, which was only, I think a few weeks ago or a month ago was when we did the silver one. Yeah. I didn't realize it'd been a year later. So it was pretty much just every year. So next year,
what
guys.
Color? Oh my God, it's coming.
Guess what color we're going to be doing. I don't know if we'll do the exact same, but I'm sure I'll keep the trend going.
And it's good marketing. Like when I saw that come up on your Instagram and it was like the face of your brand. Yeah. So cool.
It was.
You got to stick to it.
I do. I got to stay on brand. Yeah. So I think, definitely next on the horizon for next year. But it was pretty much a year later and that one was great. I didn't prep for that one and his partner came along and did the behind the scenes and the painting of that one. So we got the entire behind the scenes. So it's exposing. But you get so bodily confident when you're training and when you're putting so much effort into your appearance. Yeah. So his professionalism and my confidence paired together is what made it so fun.
I love that. Yeah. What's your thoughts on challenges that use preset programs? a little bit controversial. It's everywhere. I feel like a lot of people are doing that. So yeah, overall thoughts.
Many coaches enter the space with these challenges or repeat challenge after challenge. The accessibility of them is great because they are usually at a lower price point, right? So in terms of those that are new into the industry or have not yet put money towards themselves and their health, it is a great entry point for them. The preset programs as well are quite user-friendly in terms of they are made and catered to those that are fresher into the gym. Hence, they might not have advanced exercises and the utilization of advanced meal plans and education around macros. So they are great for entry level, I think. However, most coaches will agree these clients all end up on our doorstep at some point.
I know.
They go through that vicious cycle of an 8-week challenge in which they lose the weight that they initially wanted to lose. However, after the challenge finishes and they don't actually have someone overlooking their training and their food, they fall off. At which point they usually gain back what they were looking to lose, right? So they then need to go through another challenge and spend more money. However, the lack of education that comes along with these challenges means they're stuck in that continuous cycle. So that doesn't usually get broken until they end up on a coach's doorstep like myself, which offer catered and personalized plans made for them, which means their motivation is high, right? They want to achieve something that they know has been made for them and catered for them. And it also encompasses the educational aspect, which is why I have so many clients on my doorstep because of the education they learn and they gain from going through the cutting, the reverse, the gaining, so that they understand that they can apply those same techniques and utilize those tools within their future training. So when they might not have a coach, which is not what these challenges offer. So overall, there is a place for them in the fitness industry. However, it can also be seen as a money grab for coaches because they know these clients will most likely end up back with them for their next 8-week challenge because they actually haven't taught them how to use the skills. They've just handed it to them.
Makes sense. I feel like I'm a prime example of what you were just saying. I started in the fitness because of the challenges. And they're really, accessible, cheap, and easy to follow. You've got the videos and everything, but for me, it reached a point where, I was sort of just losing weight and then putting it back on and then a little bit of muscle, and I wasn't seeing the results I really wanted to. And then, sort of just went off on my own and then eventually, worked with you. And I feel like my gains have been never been so good.
And not only that, but you feel more empowered and educated to take our coaching experience and apply that to your own future experience
100%.
Without me by your side,
100%.
which at the end of the day summarizes a successful client to me. A successful client is one that can message you and say, hey, look, thank you so much. You've provided me with all of this education. I now feel confident going into my future alone without your oversight. Yes, it's saying goodbye to a client and maybe one you've worked with for years, which can be sad, but at the end of the day, they're moving on to better things because you've educated them and done what you needed to do as a coach. Having them come back through every challenge, to me, I wouldn't gain a sense of success because that client is not successful by themselves. They're reliant, not successful.
Yeah, that's great. How did you first get into fitness? And which obviously eventually led you into your career. So curious about the timeline and how you found fitness.
I wouldn't say I went into fitness with the original reasons that most young females do, that being to attain a certain aesthetic or to lose a certain amount of weight or get down to a certain amount of fat percentage. I went into fitness looking for a mental escape and I found the gym. Sure, what got my feet through the door was not being initially confident in my body, but what got my feet to stay in the gym was the mental release that allowed me to have, which I could not find anywhere else. The head noise stops when you train, and that's
100%.
when that's
it's so
when the addiction
cool that
comes.
it's such like a outlet for people.
100%.
Yeah, and it's like putting towards your health, like that. There's no better way.
Exactly. So the aesthetic byproduct of training is not why I stayed, but the mental release and escape that it provided me that I could not find anywhere else. I mean, most people that have the addiction will say like, I've cried on the gym floor, I've eaten on the gym floor, I've slept on the gym floor. Like it becomes your family, whether that be the people or just the environment itself.
100%.
So that is what allows me to stay in this space. If you go in looking for a certain aesthetic, that will not be the reason you stay. You will never last if that's all you're chasing. If you find the intrinsic motivation to stay, and that usually comes from realizing it assists your mental health and other capacities of your life, that's when you'll get the results because of the longevity of remaining in the fitness space.
How did you get into it?
Naturally progressed. So obviously I had been training for a few years, so I'd built up an aesthetic that others admired and wanted to attain as well. I also became educated through having a coach. I skipped the challenge aspect. I've never done a challenge.
Girl.
I know. So I went straight with a coach. Bless his heart. I speak about him quite a lot on my socials. He is who taught me everything initially.
Awesome.
And he is the reason why I started coaching. So with that education behind me, based on the fact that I literally walked into the gym pretty much with a coach from a few months in, allowed me the confidence to feel as though I could translate my passion into a career. I also have, at the time, when I decided to transition into coaching, I was teaching. So not many people know, but classroom
That's
teacher.
interesting.
I very quickly realized that my passion was not to teach in the classroom, but still to teach just on the gym floor. So I was able to transfer the skills attained from my degree and experience in the classroom to be able to coach those on the gym floor. So I still like to say I utilize those aspects of my career just in a different capacity and in a different environment. So I paired that with my love of fitness, and that's what naturally progressed to it becoming my career now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you sort of did touch on this a little bit earlier, but what traits do your most successful clients hold?
Not a common answer. It's not motivation. It's not determination. Honestly, the most successful clients are the traumatized ones.
Yeah, right.
It sounds weird and it sounds bad, but I can relate just because of my past experience in life. Trauma will out-train hard work in the gym any day, in my opinion. Trauma will out-train determination. It will out-train motivation because those clients don't have a choice whether they train. They don't wake up like myself questioning if they're going to train legs. They wake up knowing they have to for their mental sound and their mental health. So those are the clients that stay with it no matter what. They need the gym. They need their programming. They need to stay in routine. So those are always the hardest workers, and I seem to attract them completely. I can also tell, it's so funny, I can tell when they walk onto the gym floor. I think it comes from my educational background with teaching and majoring in psychology in that sector to now teaching on the gym floor. You can just tell when someone's fighting a battle.
Yeah.
They will train differently. Their presence is different. And when they walk into the gym space, I love it. I get so excited. When I get a traumatized client, I'm like, this is it.
This is the best.
This is the best.
Oh my
This
God.
is what I do best. And I just attract them. So everyone obviously comes with a story and comes from a walk of life. But because of my vast experience with trauma within my life and my upbringing, I'm usually able to find a commonality with these clients and be able to show them and teach them how to use that trauma and harness their pain towards training and building a better lifestyle, which comes along with, you know, a positive aspect of mental health.
Yeah. Okay, so the last one for the social media questions, what's the best and most simple advice you would give someone who wants to start getting into fitness and also with the goal to lose weight?
Get a coach. Fast track your progress.
Yeah.
Skip the challenges.
Yeah.
Skip ChatGPT writing your program.
What the heck? Do people do that?
Yeah. I think everyone at some point, look, it can spit out things, but it's still not personalized.
Yeah.
It doesn't know, especially for females, your menstruation cycle, your hormone levels. It can't test your blood.
No.
It can't assist you with your sleep regulation because it doesn't know the ins and outs of your home life, of your situation, unless you want to give the time of day to sit there and write a novel to ChatGPT about your life. It doesn't have that personal connection.
Yeah.
You also don't want to adhere to ChatGPT, right? That's why people get a coach for adherence and for motivational reasons. You need to have a coach that you want to show up for. I don't want to show up for a computer. I don't want to show up for AI. My coach,
and they're not holding you accountable.
They're not.
I would get away with so much.
You would, because you've got no one looking at your Skittles on MyFitnessPal.
Oh God, don't bring up the Skittles.
You've got no one like actually looking. Like I'm fucking scared of my coach.
I'm not scared of you.
Good. There needs to be a level of
Fear.
There does
Yeah.
in the coaching client relationship. And that is something as well that is controversial. A lot of people don't believe that that should be an aspect of the interaction. But I mean, look at you, look at your results. And you had that aspect of our interaction. I have that with my coach.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be terrified. But hey, if you're scared to tell me that I messed up on the weekend and I regressed, then what's going to keep you accountable? Because you can't keep yourself accountable. There's a reason you're on a coach's doorstep.
Yeah.
There's a reason that I have a coach. We are all inherently lazy at some point. We all want to regress back to our old nature and our old habits. So having a third party come in to look at what you're doing is great for motivation and adherence. And it's nothing to be
100%.
ashamed of to need to hire outside help.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get that from a coach that you don't have a level level of respect and fear for, in my opinion.
And even if you do, mess up, let's say I had too many Skittles on the weekend.
Okay, that happened quite a few times.
Every week. I made it work. I don't know how.
I don't know. No comment.
God. But yeah, even if you do mess up, you should still be able to tell your coach, because how are you going to get the results that you want if you're not being honest? Like if I were to mess up, you would then be able to make an executive decision to change something the week after just to help me 100%. Reach those results.
Yeah.
And like you should be scared, but like
be able to
just know that they're helping you in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your goals are my goals. My clients' goals I want to reach them just as badly as they do. So of course I'm going to hold you to a higher level that you weren't holding yourself to before. Something needed to change because you weren't getting the results that you wanted. And if that's going to come from a tougher coaching approach, which I absolutely have, but then again I attract those clients, then it means going down that route.
Yeah.
Time for some questions that people had for Hannah in regards to her transition from a bulking phase to a cutting phase, guided by myself as her coach. So Hannah, you've been training for the better part of the last 3 years without a coach. What eventually made you to decide to finally get a coach?
Accountability. Like, I had been writing my own programs, pushing myself at the gym, but last year was when I locked in. I did a 9-month bulk with myself. I did my own program.
Yeah, you did great.
I honestly reckon I could have got more results if I did work with you the whole time during that.
Yeah.
But I still pushed myself. But yeah, once I knew the cut was coming up, I was so fearful because cutting is so scary.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like being hungry, being tired, seeing your body change, it can be really scary. And I had built so much muscle up. I didn't want to lose it. So I said to myself, let's just try it. I had seen you, I'd been following your journey for quite some time. And I just felt ready. I knew that you would you would offer me the best outcome in this situation. So we did 12 weeks and girl, I lost all of the fat and my muscle just stayed. I felt so good on shoot day. It was just perfect. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you out of your comfort zone?
I was. I think if I did a shoot again, I would think I would have more confidence. But I had a few shots before because I just needed it. I did so bad.
I don't know if I saw that in your MyFitnessPal.
I didn't add that. Neither did I add the McDonald's after the shoot.
No.
But I knew I was so hungry.
Your reverse. That was
so
not
bad.
on your reverse.
No, it was so bad. But yeah, it was scary. I had my best friend there and I worked with someone who has done a bunch of bikini shoots, fitness shoots. So he was able to, tell me delts on, glutes on.
You need that. You need those cues.
I had it, and I had my best friend in the back being like, damn. So I had the hype, girl. It was so good. It was so fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. So yeah, loved it.
Enjoyable experience.
It was. Overall. I loved it. Yeah, it was awesome.
You went through a 9-month bulk before.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, before the cut.
Yeah.
Obviously you built up quite a lot of muscle during that time. Do you think you were able to maintain that muscle during our cutting phase?
100%. I said to you when I came to you, I need my glutes to stay. They're my priority.
Girl, they are your personality trait. We need your personality trait there.
God, it's so bad. But I said to you, please, I've worked so hard. And every time I've done a cut before, I've lost something.
Yeah,
and I just ended up being skinny and not muscly. And because I put so much effort into this bulk, why was I going to throw that all away and lose that effort of feeling sick, going to bed sick every night because I had eaten my weight in food just to hit my calories,
Yeah, exactly.
So, by the end of it, I only lost, I think, 7 kilos.
Yeah, you didn't lose much weight in terms of scale weight.
No, but I was cinched. I lost so many centimeters just in my waist, my hips. I think I only lost a few centimeters.
Yeah, we kept the glutes.
Like, the glutes were there.
They were there.
I felt so good on the day.
They were there.
They were so there.
I had so many responses to your shoot. I had guys in the DMs about
God.
you.
Sorry.
Like, who is that? Like, bro, why are you messaging me on my profile?
That is so
Go to
weird.
Hannah's
What
profile.
the heck?
Yeah, I did. I don't know if I told you that. And girls as well. I literally will have future clients message me your shoot.
That's awesome.
And be like that.
I want this.
Yeah,
I love
you
that.
did
That makes me feel
amazing.
so good about myself
Well, you
as
should.
well.
I don't think you realize in the moment even, and definitely not the weeks beforehand because you're so depleted, how far you have come and how low of a body fat percentage you actually get to. It's that body dysmorphia, right?
It so is.
You don't see it. And I remember I
it's
said to
never
you,
ending.
I said, you're going to look back on the photos and you were going to realize just how much you lost and how insane you looked and how hard you
I wish
worked.
I looked like that now.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't think of that though
know.
in the moment, and
I
it's not
know.
something that a coach can translate and try to get you to see. How you see yourself in the mirror, no one can have an impact over.
Yeah.
But having those photos, which is why I think it's so important to do something like a shoot, is what you did at the end of a cutting phase to look back on.
Yeah, it was
and
awesome.
to have that.
Would recommend. Like if you're doing a cut or a bulk or anything, the shoot is amazing. You'll feel so good about yourself. And I'm so excited to show my kids those photos.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Well, we need to do another one. We need a comparison. They're great for comparisons.
Yeah, I'm ready for another one. Hope maybe next year, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to start a bulk soon and then maybe do a bit of a cutting phase, but we'll see. I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, we'll
talk. We'll chat.
All right. Why did you choose me as your coach?
It could be a controversial take here, but girl, your physique sold me. I feel like your body is your billboard in this industry.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, and I had been watching your journey and seeing your photo shoots and just you posting at the gym or just at home. And I would see just your body and be like, girl, I want that. What the heck?
Yeah.
And although I can't have what you have because we're all genetically different,
100%.
I could trust in you to build me to my best and get me to what I'm capable of being.
100%.
I had so much trust in you and you would post stories with just good content that helps people learn, very knowledgeable. So I would watch that and I wanted 24/7 access to that. So
you got that, girl.
I did. Oh
Whether
my
you liked
God.
it or not, you got your messages.
I did. Where are these Skittles coming from?
Yeah. God, I told you to throw out the packet.
Oh God.
Get this out the bin. What is going on here? She would sacrifice, guys. She would not have lunch to have like 200 grams of Skittles
I
or
could
like
have
100
had a
grams.
whole meal for the amount of
did.
Skittles I went through.
Yeah, it was insane.
I've got the Skittle ick now though. I think after the shoot.
It's like pregnancy.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you don't want the craving again.
And I was so hungry on the cut as well. Like no sugar fizzy drink.
I know.
Holy crap. Why is it so much more quenching when you're on
100%.
cut?
Yeah.
And like I would make, towards the end, I was so desperate. I would make these protein cookies with like Sylvia or whatever you call it. The
stevia.
Stevia, yeah.
Stevia.
And
Our best friend.
they were so good. I remember sitting there saying to my partner, holy crap, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. And I'll make them now and be like, that is chat.
Yes.
How am I eating?
Your taste buds change. They go bland.
Yes.
But not in a bad way because it's what you need to survive a cut phase like that.
And it made having that cookie at the end of the day worth it. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And like looking forward to that. So yeah, I think it was just like the sugar depletion and you just reach a point on the cut where you're just really craving anything. So
yeah, 100%. I think the want to attain a coach's aesthetic and body is definitely a driving motivator for clients when they're picking coaches, especially when it's based off their social medias, right? What they're posting, their photos, their reels.
Yeah.
However, as we've discussed, you cannot attain that body. Genetically, we are also predispositioned to look differently. I cannot change your genetics and I will never target an audience that think or market myself in a way to an audience which says that I can or that they can attain exactly how I look. Even if they followed the same training plan and the same nutritional protocols, there are just limitations to every single person and their bodies. So although I think it's great to pick a coach that looks like they train hard and work hard in the gym and has that motivation, because in saying that you are going to get that from them if you have a coach that is that headstrong, obviously that bleeds into your own fitness journey. However, really taking a look at what else that coach can provide you is pivotal when deciding who is going to guide you through your own fitness journey. So I do get the comment a lot based on my aesthetic and my body shape. However, like you said, and I think I taught you and explained to you that you can't get this and no client can. I can get you to your own best potential like you just articulated. And that is the best I can do.
100%.
So as long as you're transparent about that. However, I think the marketing of a coach's body is being oversaturated in this industry. Yeah. It's even the what I eat in a day is And they all start with the body of the coach or the person. They all start with it. I understand why, right? It's a bit of a hook.
It's a attention grab right away.
It's an attention grabber, 100%. So you do have to think about the marketing ploy there, but it's also in a way connoting to the idea that you can attain this body if you eat this way. And as we know in this industry, that is just not right. Your 1,600 calories is looking different to the next client's 1,600 calories, and your goals based on those calories are completely different and what you will achieve. So I do think that bodies are over-marketed. Like you said, your body is your billboard. It 100% is, but that should not be the driving marketer for your coaching service.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
12-week cutting phase.
Yeah.
By the end of this, did you feel as though you reached the results that you came to me wanting?
Girl, like I wasn't – it was just – I have no words. Like honestly.
It was insane.
It was more than I had ever anticipated or expected. I didn't even know I could be that shredded.
Yeah.
Like I felt freaking good.
Yeah. You got hell lean.
I was so lean. And like although it's not like feasible to hold that all the time, and I wouldn't expect myself to. Like I still want to enjoy life. I don't want to be stuck on 1,600 just trying to keep, you know, that figure. But yeah, just for the shoot and the purpose of it, I felt so good. I felt so lean. I felt so muscly. I felt like a muscle mummy. It was so good.
You looked like one. And I think as well you felt that way not just because of your aesthetic and the end product, that being your body looking insane, but the knowledge behind the hard work that you put into that process.
Yeah, such a commitment. Like you feel so good about yourself just for being able to stick through it. You know, you make so many sacrifices doing a cut. And so once you sort of finish, I feel like that's why, you know, people compete because they stick to something so strict. Yeah. And at the end of it, it's like a reward.
Yeah,
like,
it
you
is.
know what I mean?
The photos or the macas
awesome.
after.
Yeah, it's so awesome, like reaching that point. So yeah, I loved it.
What are some of the key things that you changed or that you sacrificed to get the results that you did?
I felt like I did have to sacrifice a lot. No drinking. Yeah, the Skittles stayed to an extent.
We didn't sacrifice the Skittles.
I told her she's not taking them from me. But the main sacrifice was just social. I would have to avoid going out for dinners. And if I did, like if it was a family dinner I couldn't miss, I would sit there and I would have had my meal prep before going. I would have sat there and not eaten. And it's really confronting and awkward and uncomfortable when you're in that space because people look at you and they think, what is wrong with you? Are you that obsessed with yourself or obsessed with
judgment,
your body that you're going to sit here while we're eating? But it's like, it's just what you have to do. And it's not like it's always like that. This was cuts, you've got to, this is just the sacrifice you have to make.
100%.
And 3 months honestly isn't that long of a time. It was 12 weeks I managed, and it was a slow decrease in my calories. So it wasn't like intense straight away, 1,600 and I was starved. It was fine. It was like a slow transition down. But the biggest sacrifice is that, and drinking, socializing, going out with friends, going to the movies, not being able to have popcorn. Do you know what I mean? It's just the little things. Another main thing is probably the mindset, especially going into the gym on a cut, only because you're hungry, you're tired, and you're not going to be able to lift as heavy. And that's just the thing. Like a 9-month bulk, I got so strong. And then going to the gym, you need to go in with the expectation you're not going to have that same strength, which is so fun. Doesn't mean you're losing your muscle. But just going with that mindset, like it'll be fine. And it turned out fine. Although I think I kept my strength well.
You did.
But I lost it a little bit. And but still I kept all my muscle. So just be positive going into it.
Enjoy it. It's a choice. Cutting is a choice.
Yes. And that's where it can be difficult. Because when you think about it that way, saying this is a choice, I'm putting myself through this, I can take myself out of it.
Privilege.
That's the mindset where it's like, and if I didn't have you, I might have made a bad choice here or there. And like went out for dinner and been like, fuck it. It's one night. It's one night.
But how often does that thought then come up?
Exactly. And then you think bad about yourself because you've just ruined a bit of progress. So having you to keep me accountable was like needed. I think
the social interaction or the reduction of social interaction is the hardest part for many clients.
Yeah.
Our culture is so heavily ingrained in drinking and eating out. Let's be honest. It's a huge part of making friends or going out with our partners and enjoying our personal life. And I'm very upfront with clients initially that are wanting to enter a cut specifically for something like a shoot that does have an end date, right? They need to give things up like those social interactions to an extent in order to reach their goals. So you need to ensure that this goal is something bigger that you're trying to work towards, and have those uncomfortable situations in which you are sitting at the dinner table and you are the only one that isn't eating the food that's provided, and having those chats with your friends and family and hoping that they see it through the same lens that you do. I get asked that question a lot. How do I navigate those conversations? I always like to think that those closest to you have an understanding of your goals and respect them enough to not shed negative judgment on you for your choices, because cutting is a choice and a privilege if you have the accessibility to do so. And we forget that because we are deprived of food and calories, and we want to complain, right? However, going through those conversations or navigating those chats through a positive lens can definitely help those around you encourage towards your goals and not try to deter you from them. But that is something that I don't think is spoken about enough. The mitigation of things like the social interactions that you do have to give up to an extent. And I don't think it should be seen as such a negative thing. The word and term eating disorder will get thrown around when you're the only one at that dinner table not eating.
Crazy.
Even though you have met your calories for that day.
And you've eaten.
And you have eaten and you were tracking and you are within a healthy range. You were just preset on your goals and holding yourself higher and to an accountability that those around you just simply do not understand.
Yeah.
We live in a society which is so heavily ingrained in drinking and eating out and the overconsumption of calories that choosing to not indulge in that is seen as an eating disorder. Or your intentions are questioned, which is super sad.
It is. And maybe a little bit triggering to some people as well.
Yeah.
Like, we've all had our moments and to sort of have that thrown at you when you're just doing something for yourself. Like, it's not really anyone's business if you're not eating like in front of them.
You're not going to comment on someone overeating. So why is it your right to comment on someone undereating or choosing to not eat? You're not going to walk up to someone and say, you've had quite a few meals, so why would you walk up to someone and say you're not eating?
Yeah.
Obviously, they could be going through something that you're not aware of, or they have goals and adherence protocols that they're trying to meet that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
So those comments being thrown around in that light are never positive. Yeah. If they don't understand it, then that is their issue.
Yeah. And the people around you should, like as you said, respect your goals. And honestly, like my best friend, when she would see, like she would be like, do you want, it's just a bite.
Yeah, they all say
and
that.
I would
it's
say,
just a bite.
yeah, I would say, no, I can't. You would be so proud of me. I was so good. She was like, damn, your
proud.
Level of
commitment
and just determination to stick through this is actually admiring.
It is.
And like people closest to you will view it as that, not as a negative thing that you're choosing not to eat out at dinner. At least you're there. You're turning up for the people that you care about. So
100%.
It shouldn't be anyone's like business to comment on that sort of stuff.
And like you said, it's for a specific amount of time, right? It's 12 weeks.
It's so short.
It's
like,
8 to 12.
It actually was so quick.
It does.
I was a bit worried. 3 months sounds like a long time, but
it's not.
It ticks down.
I feel like you get to the end of it and you're like, I could keep going. Or some clients want to keep going.
Yes.
Like I want to, and you kind of do have to say, hey, look, you're at a very low body fat percentage. Like,
hike it up.
It's okay. We can increase, and that's another conversation. But it does go quick. If you can't diet and control what you're consuming for 8 to 12 weeks, then what level of commitment do you apply to other areas of your life? That is my question and my concern. If you want to learn how to motivate yourself to do better in your personal relationships, to do better in your working environment, apply control to your diet and to your training regime, because I can guarantee that will bleed into other areas of your life.
100%.
And that is where our confidence comes from.
Yeah.
People love to say gym goers and those that count their calories and track what they consume are self-obsessive and arrogant and egotistic. I say I'm self-confident because I know that I can hold myself to a higher level and I can commit myself to goals that I have set. And others that can't view it through a negative lens because they are understanding that they cannot do the same.
Yeah. And that's just jealousy coming up there.
Is jealousy. What did you learn from our coaching experience?
I took so much away from it. It was literally only 12 weeks and I learnt so much. You got me onto so many new workouts. I've been so scared to try.
Yes, you had not done a compound movement. I get so many clients when they first come to me, you guys are not benching, you're not squatting, you're not deadlifting. And I think the industry has taken such a turn recently through the lens that you don't need to learn these compound lifts.
Yeah.
You don't need to. Do you need to complete a squat for glutes? No. Do you need to complete a bench press to get bigger pecs? No. Is this going to assist, though, your education surrounding lifts, training, bracing, form, technique, hip hinge patterns?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are they scary?
So
yes.
scary.
You don't see people doing compound lifts anymore.
I know.
You don't see coaches, 1, training them and 2, coaching them. And I think it's such a pivotal aspect of
100%.
coaching that people are missing.
Yeah.
So we got you on them. And how
did.
do you feel how did you feel about that process?
I felt like a baddie doing those lifts.
It's so confidence
They
boosting.
are. Like at first, my form needed to be fixed a few times.
A few.
Yeah. A few times.
We got you there.
You're
dead.
I don't think I'm still not there with squats. I hate them. Let's be honest.
Everyone hates squats.
We all hate
You
something.
all hate them.
I feel like there's one thing that we all really hate. And if there's some way we can replace them,
You
then
will go
we
for
will.
it. Yeah.
Like I will do anything.
You'll run to anything except a squat.
Yeah. I won't run though. I hate running. No
cardio.
Don't even get me started on the cardio she had me doing.
It came out in the end.
It did. It was so worth it.
I'm not going to drop your calories past what we dropped them to. And people always think that you need to drop your calories again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it gets
I would
to
have
a
rather
point.
eat more.
Yeah.
I would rather eat more and do 12,000 steps a day and 40 minutes on the stepper.
Yeah.
Like it's a
It's really
big
not too
commitment,
bad.
but I got so used
Just
to
time,
it. It sort of just felt
You
just
ate that stepper up.
I did.
owned
I would
that
do it every
stepper.
morning, lunch,
Yeah.
and then if I didn't hit it at night time, I was on that damn treadmill.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. But yeah, the compound movements, the deadlifts, I love them. I incorporate them into my program now.
Good.
And other
I'm happy to
movements I
hear.
hadn't done, like step ups. Like I did them
Yes.
on the
I corrected your form
You
for those.
did.
Yeah.
You did. And now like I love them and I feel like my glutes are all the better for it.
Yeah.
I've just, like in terms of just training in general, learnt so much.
Yeah.
And you're so knowledgeable with that. So yeah, I took so much away and I feel like I could now go into my next cut and feel confident enough to try it myself.
Big steps.
Yeah, massive.
And that is a successful client. Like we
Yes.
articulated at the beginning,
Yeah.
a successful client is one like yourself who can step away from coaching, being able to utilize the tools, the protocols that we applied within that cutting phase together under my watchful eye and go into your future training and your future dieting phases, utilizing those same key aspects that you learned and not needing someone to overlook it completely at a coaching with me.
It's so scary.
It is scary.
Like I will watch people do it at the gym and I think, God, they've got the belt on. They're lifting. They've got like 10 plates on either side. I'm thinking, what the fuck?
They look good though.
They do. And
They
they're
look
pushing good on them.
Oh,
So good on them. But it's still scary to like step in a public space and try something new.
yeah.
So that's always really confronting. Even I've been going to the gym for 3-4 years and I still get anxious at the gym.
Yes.
Like I still
It
get
doesn't go
nervous to
Does not go away.
do certain movements and still just walking around the gym no matter like what I'm wearing. Like if someone looks at you the wrong way, like you overthink it. So the
Yes.
gym environment is still scary and I understand why people feel anxious there.
Yeah, especially with the compound movements.
Yes. And the compound movements, they're quite
They're
nerve-wracking.
so technically challenging.
They are. And
In the
you see
form.
people with all that weight and then I've just got like 10 on either side just because I'm learning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's a
still
hit to the ego.
It is.
Yeah.
So, but I'm so glad that I tried it and I and having to feel myself at the same time because I would
Yes.
show you my form. That's
Yes.
extra anxiety.
Yes.
Doing something with low weight, doing something I've never done before and getting my camera out.
Yeah, accumulation.
So
of all of that.
scary.
100%.
I'm better for it though. Like,
Exactly.
take videos for your coach.
Yeah, do
Like,
it.
I would have been
I
doing
always
it
push
wrong
it.
the whole time.
Yes.
Like
100%.
so important.
Mm.
But I feel so good now. But it was such like with anything, it was just a mental barrier. 100%.
It is a mental barrier.
Overthink it.
I will have clients sign up every week that every client is not confident in at least one of their movements. And those are usually and typically a compound lift. I will always program it. My clients can kick up a fuss all they want. If you don't want to do something, you are most likely not good at it. which means you have been avoiding it. But how do we get better at something we're not good at? We practice, we repeat, we rinse, and then we go back through it again.
Yeah.
And that is what I apply to every single client. I ask them, what lift do you think you're the weakest in? What lift do you not want me to program? And you best believe
it's on there.
That lift, it is at the top of my list.
Crap.
There's a reason. There's a mental barrier, there's a physical barrier, there's a breakdown in form, in technique. I'm here to better you. So I'm here to make sure that we utilize those movement patterns.
You're pushing us.
Exactly.
And, like, all respect to you because that's what you've got to do.
Yeah.
Like, I think you gave me pull-ups, but with the band. I always did them on the assisted
machine.
And so that was another thing, a mental barrier, getting the band out. And what if I get stuck in the band?
Everyone
What if I
hates it.
fall? Like, that
We
is
all have the
frightening.
thoughts. Mm-hmm.
So getting up there for the first time was so scary, but now I freaking love it.
Good.
I feel like a baddie. I don't even need the band anymore. I can do a couple.
Job
I
done.
did one the night out the other night. Like,
You did.
I did one.
You were on the playground.
Yeah, I did one.
A few drinks down, and
I only could do one. But I'm feeling a little bit weak at the moment, and I had a few drinks. So
let's blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah.
Not your lack of training.
Good Lord.
But I do think it's so imperative to include compound movements because they infer so many of your other lifts.
Yeah.
Depending on your breathing pattern, your ankle mobility, your hip mobility, your hinge ability. That will always give me, as your coach, an amazing idea of how you are going to apply the same form and technique to your other lifts. It gives me a great understanding off the bat of how advanced you are and where you actually might be going wrong in your other lifts without even seeing them. But it is something so many coaches do not program, don't utilize, and don't preach. And I will say that that comes down to the fact that they themselves do not practice it. They don't practice what they preach, or they don't preach it because they don't practice it. They don't know how to squat. They don't know how to bench, and they don't know how to deadlift. How can you coach a client through a movement pattern that you yourself are not confident in applying to your own training?
100%.
And this is also something I feel very passionately about. It comes down to the fact that a lot of these online coaches have never stepped foot on the gym floor as a PT. I will preach this to the day I'm not in the industry, and even after I've left the industry. What are you doing?
Yeah.
How can you apply form correction technique to a client online in another country when you cannot step foot in a gym and apply that to your client face to face? It gives you so much more experience and enables you to have the confidence and to learn from your face-to-face interactions to then apply that to the online space. Your clients are better off for it, so why don't you do it? Usually
100%.
the barriers that they want to mention are things like rent in the gym or the idea of having to gain clients. If you want it bad enough and you want your clients to be educated, you will find a way to practice what you preach in person. It boggles my mind that coaches will go into coaching without having any face-to-face. And the scary part is you don't need to be qualified to online coach. You do not need to be a PT.
Yeah, that's actually hectic. I didn't know that.
You might never have had a face-to-face with a client, yet you can online coach hundreds and have a social media presence completely based around the ideology of coaching and bettering your clients' lives through the gym and through training. But how do you do that without knowing how to apply that technique and form in person first? It's not only that, but it's the personability that you learn as well. It's communication styles. It's working with a broad range of demographics who typically are not your ideal clientele, right? But that makes me a better coach. I've worked with 70-year-olds with knee replacements. I've worked with many 50 and 60-year-olds who are perimenopausal or currently menopausal. I've worked with prenatal, postnatal.
Yeah. It's all experience.
The list is never ending.
Yeah.
Are these my online clients submitting forms from America or Europe for online coaching? No. But if they happen to mention that their knee niggles in a certain movement, well, guess what? I had a client face-to-face that had the exact same issue who was 30 years old, lifting strong and heavy. So I'm able to utilize the knowledge that I attained from that interaction, which I might not have had if I were not on the gym floor at that point in time. So I can utilize that knowledge and apply that to my online girls and my online space. You're forever learning when you're face-to-face and you're exposing yourself to a broad range of demographics that are not your ideal clientele. If I can work with them, I can work with the 25-year-old who has all the time in the world to train
100%.
and can control what they bring into their kitchen because they don't have kids.
Yeah. Okay, so some questions for you. What should a client consider when choosing a coach?
Not just how they look. You need to think about their education, their educational background, their qualifications. Take a look at their key clientele.
Yeah.
Who are they transforming?
Mm.
If they're transforming and assisting those through their health and fitness journey that are, recent mums who are trying to get back into fitness and training, but you yourself are a 19-year-old trying to lose, 5 kilos of body fat, they're probably not your ideal coach.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they can't get you there, but look at the clients, see whose universe you would fit into or whose world you would fit into and find the coach for that world, because you're most likely going to be able to build up a connection best with them and have a positive coaching experience.
And I feel like coaches are a little bit like therapists in two ways that you would probably say.
Oh, yeah.
But like you sometimes need to try someone out, and if it doesn't fit, then go with someone else.
Yeah. 100%. It's a really personal interaction and a personal connection. We are 100% therapists. I have had in face-to-face sessions nearly every single client break down at some point. Nearly all of them. And I'll get the ones that I haven't got yet. And that is not because, sometimes it's because I'm a tough coach. Not usually. It's because no one speaks about this, and this is why I love face-to-face coaching as well and why I never want to give it up. But the release of physical stress for when you're training and you're really pushing your body to its limits is highly paired with the release of mental stress.
Mm-hmm.
So when these girls, it's always on the leg press for some reason. When they're on the leg press, they're pressing hard, heavy weight. They're releasing mental stress as well as physical stress. And that is accompanied by a complete breakdown. They will just burst into tears.
Oh, really?
Oh, full burst.
Oh, my God.
A lot of the time I know their situation, I know their history,
Sure.
I know their story, because coaching is such a personalized environment,
Yeah, it is.
especially face-to-face. It's very intimate. So I typically will understand the reason as to why they're having that mental release as well as the physical. However, sometimes you just don't. And I don't pay it too much attention, because in order for them to feel comfortable and safe, they shouldn't feel as though they're an outlier. And trust me, they're not. Like I mentioned, I've had nearly every single client break down on me for one reason or the other. So it is such a personal experience. You do turn into a therapist. You turn into a therapist, you turn into a psychologist. And that is why the face-to-face interaction is so amazing and something that is phasing out, strangely enough, or it was phased out during COVID, which is understandable because the gyms weren't open, right? So PTs couldn't make their money. They couldn't make their rent. It was not feasible. So the transition to online started during COVID and it maintained.
Yeah.
However, I do think that we will see a rise in the face-to-face PT again, and I'm already starting to see a rise.
I think it's coming back. Just in all aspects of any industry. I think working from home was such a big thing, and now I am noticing it's all sort of coming back
Shifting.
to how things used to be.
100%. And I think clients are starting to learn that what they gain from face-to-face is invaluable.
Mm-hmm.
You will speed up your progress so much having face-to-face, having me with you, looking at your form, looking at your technique, being able to articulate, what we need to change and transition when we're face-to-face does not compare to online.
Yeah.
If you have the availability to see a PT in the gym, even if it's once a month, to check on your squat, your bench, your deadlift, then do so. And I do think it will come back through.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does, what are the online coaches going to do?
God damn.
They don't know how to coach on the gym floor. Which is why I'm busy, fully busy, which I love. And that's because those that do book in see the value in it and don't question the price involved, because they understand that their gain from it will outweigh any cost.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing.
So what would you say makes you a good coach?
Good question. My communication skills, my personability, my able to find a commonality with any single client from any demographic, any age, or geographically located in any country, the ability to communicate with them and foster a sense of safety within our relationship, because they know that I will hold them to a higher standard, and I come along with that tougher coaching approach to push them towards where they want to be, because where they are at is not the goals that they have in mind, and they know that something needs to change. Yeah. So my ability to learn to communicate with them online, because I do so in person, gives me an advancement in this industry that not many people have. My teaching background, the skills I attained from learning how to communicate with a broad spectrum of different people that have different learning capabilities. You need to understand that when you're teaching on the gym floor or you're teaching in the online space, you're harnessing your ability to communicate and articulate bodily movement patterns that one person will not understand in comparison to another, depending on how you're choosing to communicate. So some people are visual learners versus kinesthetic learners versus tactile learners. There's such a broad spectrum of ways that people communicate and like to be communicated with.
Yeah.
So based on my teaching and my time on the gym floor, I have the understanding, even neurodivergency, like learning how those individuals, depending on where they are on that spectrum, like to receive instructions differs vastly to someone else. So having that diversity within my current cohort of clients allows me to open my books to so many different people.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It is. It's amazing.
The fitness industry has obviously been booming like in the last few years. So how do you stand out in such a saturated industry at the moment?
Education. You're right. The industry is heavily saturated right now. However, it has never been more saturated with uneducated and underqualified coaches.
Yeah.
Social media is amazing. It allows the expansion of us to connect with so many people. So many coaches, so many client interactions are taking place within the online space and through social media, which is amazing. And we can't deny that accessibility has assisted the fitness industry. However, it also opens the doors for those that are uneducated and don't have the qualifications required in order to coach these clients successfully to have a broad spectrum or accessibility to a broad spectrum of clientele, right? That they might not actually be helping in the most positive ways, especially for their longevity of their fitness and their relationship per se with food. So education, definitely. A lot of my content is controversial. And
which we love.
We love. It will cause a stir. I always say,
it's tea.
It's tea. I'm not here to make ripples. I'm here to make waves. If someone is not arguing with me on a post or hating on a post or giving an opinion that is adverse to mine on a post, I'm not doing something right. I'm going against the grain because the grain right now is uneducated and underqualified and preaching protocols and tools that will not help clients.
And unrealistic expectations. Well. Like this is where the challenges come in. These influencers are making, like they've got big glutes, so they make a 6-week glute challenge. We're not going to get your glutes in 6 weeks. I'm sorry.
I'm going to bite my tongue here. I'm going to bite my tongue.
Don't.
100%. And they are benefiting off fear-mongering words, words that strike pain points, fat burner, cortisol. And it can lead down a murky road of eating disorders and of negative body perception.
This is where it comes from.
That can take years to reverse or not even fully reverse. Yeah. So, yes, the market is completely saturated right now, more than ever. But as the client, it is your job and responsibility to ensure that you're making an educated decision in regards to your coach. You need to be asking the right question. Yeah. Ask who coaches you. That is something I will always preach. Your coach should have a coach. They should be learning from someone else. It is a waterfall effect. Wherever they are gaining their education and their protocols on regarding to fitness and training is what you are going to learn. Because what they are learning, they are teaching. Yeah. So ensure that they themselves have or have had a coach that is respected in the community and that you also align with in terms of your beliefs and your pedagogies surrounding training and nutrition. So yes, it's saturated, but so is your ability to find a good coach that can impact you in a positive way. You just need to be smart and ask the right questions. Yep. And I stand out in that industry because the content and my authenticity is controversial. However, it is speaking truth, and that is something that this industry
it's hard to hear for some
doesn't
people,
want to hear.
And that's where like it's controversial because people hate hearing the truth.
They do, and it's a money-making industry. People forget it is a money-making industry. So those products that you're buying are deepening someone else's pockets, and the people endorsing those products are benefiting from your pockets as well. So you need to be smart in your choice. Like you are smart with your doctor, your dentist, be smart with your body. Yep. Thanks, Hannah, for joining.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Coach Client Confessions episode. It was great hearing about your experience. I'm excited to see what we can do in the future.
I loved it. It was so fun.
Thanks for listening, guys. There will be other clients joining on this confession podcast. So if there is any topics that you're wanting us to tackle, no topic is too controversial, as you might have been able to tell, then please let us know.
Bye, bitches.
Bye.